want to talk about, and I'll try to make this, speed this up a little because we are a little bit behind schedule. We're going to, the thing about the smart meters is that they pose a threat to privacy. Personally, I'm not electric sensitive. The reason I got into this battle is the privacy issue. Excuse me, can we have some quiet over there, please? Next slide. Okay, why is privacy important? Well, because the freedom to lead our lives depends on our being able to establish areas that are not monitored and controlled by others. Founding fathers understood this. This is why they passed the Fourth Amendment. If our employer can pry into all our daily living habits, it may turn out that we have to conform to an employer's dictates in order to hold our jobs. If an insurance company can pry into our daily living habits, it may turn out we are denied insurance unless we live according to its dictates. And, of course, the government. The Founding Fathers were thinking mainly of the government when they passed the Fourth Amendment. But, again, the utilities are doing all this at the government's urging, and all the data gathered will be available to the government. If they can pry into all our daily living habits, it may turn out that every aspect of our personal lives will wind up being regulated and controlled. It may not happen this year, it may not happen in 5 years, but looking down the road, this is the direction we're heading. Next. Privacy assault. Well, it's a two-phase thing. The first phase is where they put the meter on your house. It could be an electric smart meter, a gas smart meter, or a water smart meter. All three types will reveal information about your personal lifestyle and living habits. The electric one is the worst. It is kind of a gateway drug, is how I think of it, because it leads to all these other abuses down the line. It leads to still further intrusion when you're forced to buy smart appliances. And you will have smart appliances because the government is pushing appliance manufacturers to do this. They all want to get with the program. Whirlpool announced a year or more ago that starting in 2014 they will make no appliance, none of the appliances they make, washing machines, dryers, refrigerators, they will sell only ones that have smart chips on them that can communicate with your smart meter. Next. Oh, wait, you're not done with that one. You got to have it back up. Oh, that's, okay. Okay, this is the one we need. Once I call this phase one because once the meter's on your house, even though you have no smart appliances yet, when that meter's on your house, a lot of information about your daily activities will be revealed to anyone who can buy or hack into the data the meter generates. And we have no protection by state or federal law at the present time. There's no federal law that says they can't sell the data. There's no state law in Michigan that says they can't sell the data. Okay, next. The way in which the meter reveals so much information is because every appliance has certain unique characteristics. We call it a signature. If it's a motor, it has a large inrush current when you first start it up. If it's a light bulb, there's a different pattern. So if we know, if the meter senses another load coming online, and it knows the amount of current it's drawing, and the duration of the current draw, how much inrush current there is, and whether the current is in step with the applied voltage or lags behind, that's called the power factor, and whether there's a regular pattern of on or off cycles, the meter will pick up all this stuff, okay? And from that information, you can tell that it was a refrigerator that started up, a hair dryer, a television set, a computer, a washing machine. They all have unique patterns. Next. I'm not going to go too much on this, but this is the raw data that would come off of a smart meter without the labels. And, you know, we added the labels, refrigerator, toaster, kettle, and so on. Take the labels out, that's exactly what the data looks like as it comes raw off the meters. Now you might say only a geeky person could figure anything out from that. That's probably true. Next. But the fact of the matter is there are companies developing software that will take that geeky data and format it in a way that anybody can understand. It'll tell, you know, what time your family gets up in the morning, and when they go to work, and when they make their meals, and when they're not home, and when only the babysitter is there, and things like that. It's all be presented in user-friendly terms by software that massages that raw data. Also, they can record the data in as much minute detail as they choose. It could be once an hour, it could be once every minute. The readings are stored in the meter's memory, and they can be transmitted a lot less often than hourly. Sometimes some of the utilities are saying we're going to transmit 6 times a day, 3 times a day. It doesn't matter because they're going to get all the detail minute by minute. These meters are remotely programmable, and that means that whatever they say the software is capable of doing today or not capable, it doesn't matter because next year you can download new software to the meter that will do other things that you don't even know what they're doing. They can change the recording intervals remotely without notice to you. Next. I think I already mentioned this. In California, there's companies that have permission to sell the smart meter data to third-party marketing companies. And there's software on the market that will transform the raw data. Battle is already in progress about who controls all this data. I'm just going to skip this one. You can see when people go to sleep, if they're getting enough hours of sleep, if there's more than one refrigerator in the house. Next, if there's more than one stove, more than one washing machine, or if there's more than one family living in the house, it's all there. Next. Well, who would want this? Insurance companies, employers, marketing companies, and the police. They're all potentially interested in this stuff. So that was phase 1. Phase 2 is where you get all the smart appliances, and you're not going to be able to avoid it. Your old appliances are going to wear out, and you're not going to be able to buy new appliances that don't have smart chips in. The utilities are saying, oh, the smart chips will give the utility the power to turn particular appliances off in order to reduce energy consumption at certain hours of the day. Now, the utilities are saying that these programs will be voluntary. That's for now. Soon, you won't be able to buy any appliance that's not smart. And soon, we think the programs will not be so voluntary after all. Next. Okay, there is an organization, it's part of the federal government, it's called NIST, National Institute for Standards and Technology. They formed a working group to study and recommend appropriate standards for protecting people's privacy within a smart grid system. This was called the Smart Grid Interoperability Task Force, and they issued a report in August of 2010. The key recommendations in their report were surrounded the ideas of choice and consent. An organization should clearly, fully, and accurately describe the choices available to individuals and to the extent practicable, obtain explicit approval for the collection and use of their personal information. Well, guess what? This is not being done. Of all the utility companies in the United States, we don't know one that is getting the informed consent of their customer before putting one of these meters on their house. Next. So what can we do? Well, on an individual basis, in terms of protecting your own home, you should inform the utility by certified letter that you do not consent to the installation of a smart meter on your home. If you do nothing, they will say that it's implied consent, but because you didn't object, you therefore consented. So it's important you do this. If you don't want that meter, you should put a sign next to the meter that says that you do not consent to an installation of a smart meter. And we also suggest you lock the meter housing if possible. Most meter housings have a little loop where you could put a padlock through it. Now, so what we're saying is if you still got your analog meter, defend it. Defend it at all costs. Because it's a lot harder to get the smart meter off once they got it put on your house. Believe me, it's much easier to defend your old meter. If the meter's already installed, you demand its removal and consider self-help if your demand for removal is not met. We are working with 3 families now that have taken that route. They have themselves replaced their meters, and I think you're going to hear briefly from one of them later in the meeting. Next. Whoops, back up. Did I get that last one? Yeah, we covered it. Good.